Welcome to Swashbuckling with Code. I am Jimmy Cleveland, and in this course, we're going to create a Gatsby site from scratch without a bootstrap or a starter, just so you can get the experience of building it from the ground up, and I'll explain all the parts as we go. This series is intended for people who are new to Gatsby or have moderate experience with it. There are a lot of great Gatsby tutorials out there, but what I found from most of them is that they're really trying to get right into having a site up as quickly as possible. And that's fantastic, but I'm trying to do something a little bit different in this course. I have about 2 years experience on the job doing Gatsby sites in general and doing a large-scale Gatsby project. One thing that I wanted to do was provide some insights that I've learned along the way about Gatsby in general and kind of bending it to your will. And one of the key things that was a very pivotal for me at some point was, instead of just using any of the Gatsby new starters, was to create it completely from scratch to better understand all of the pieces that go into making a Gatsby site. A lot of people, when they say from scratch, they're saying, do Gatsby new and do a starter and get this big bootstrap up, which is cool. But what I'm talking about is actually creating all of the files yourself. We're not going to create the npm packages, of course, but we are going to install each one by one, and I'm going to talk about all of them and what they do and why you need them, rather than just saying, for an example, like, oh, you want to have, Gatsby images, we'll install these 3 plugins and then put this in your config and you're good to go. I want to talk about why you need those things and what they're doing for you, because what that will allow you to do is to troubleshoot problems a lot better when you run into them, and also to tailor the site to your custom needs, as well as making it the best performant experience possible. So if you're newer to Gatsby and you're wondering what all the fuss is about, I can give you a real quick breakdown. Gatsby is a modern take on static site generation. That's the key takeaway. There have been other platforms before that have done static site generation well, but Gatsby is, one, based on React, which a lot of people are liking right now. And 2, it combines a really great user experience with a developer experience in general. It allows you to use a modern tool set to build static files, which of course have been around since the beginning of the internet. Flat files that just have everything they need in them before we got into servers that dynamically route and all that stuff. Way back, Gatsby allows you to go back to the speedy ideas of the internet through static site generation, and usually static site generators do, but without sacrificing all of the modern developer experience that we all like and love and aren't willing to get rid of. What Gatsby also does is it brings some new things to the table. It's very focused on performance, and it brings a lot of modern progressive developer learnings that have happened, in the last decade, all in a bunch of very convenient plugins through this ecosystem. All open source, lots of people contributing to it, but it just comes with a lot of great features built into it. Some of those, just real quick to name off, are like progressively loading images through lazy loading, serving static files and then hydrating it into a single page app so that the rest of the navigation through the site is snappy. Link prefetching, where when your mouse approaches a link, or the user's mouse approaches a link, it will go and prefetch some of the data for that so that when they do click it, it is a little bit snappier to go to that page. That's the first thing that people typically say about Gatsby sites, or how they even learn about Gatsby, is they're on like the React docs, which is built in Gatsby, or other sites, and they're like, why is this site so fast? That's how I was kind of first introduced to it, people talking about it on Reddit and Hacker News and all that. So yeah, it's a great experience overall. It does have its downsides. You do need to know up front that you need to pre-build. You're kind of offloading that pain point to the developer so that the user can get a better experience. So it does take a certain amount of time to build every time you make changes, because you need to generate all of those files. And that's a definite downside for sure, and something to keep in mind if you want it. But if you want those really nice performance gains, I would say that it can definitely be worth it. It depends on the site. It's one great tool to have in your tool belt. So in this course, we're going to be using React and JavaScript. So knowing both of those a little bit, having some good foundation there, will help you out a lot in this course. I don't think it's actually necessary. You should be able to follow along just fine if you wish to, but I think it'll probably be a better experience for you if you have those fundamentals down first. Another key feature of Gatsby is GraphQL, which there is a lot of hype about. right now. It's really cool, and we're going to be using it throughout the course, but I wanted to let you know that I'm not going to be going into a ton of depth for it. You can follow along and I'll show how to utilize it, but if you're more interested in what GraphQL is and all the parts of that, you might want to check out some other material. There's a good chance that I'll have some GraphQL supplemental material in the future, and when I do, I will link that into the description on this video. But for now, I'll just link to the GraphQL docs and you can check that out, or any other videos if you wish. But you don't have to, you can just follow along and you'll be fine. So now that you know the gist of the course, let's just jump into some code in the next video.